Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Hanging with Drummer Boy Jones. I have got my good friend Patrick back with me, and I've done messed this up because the first thing I was going to do was go, "Hello, Patrick."
Oh,
Cornball, right? But
right.
today we're going over 5150, the first record with Sammy Hagar, the big um I, I should. It's not really a comeback. It's the first record without Diamond Dave, right? So
Yeah.
it's. I wouldn't call it a comeback because it's just 2 years in between records. But uh,
Just a rebirth.
a rebirth. There you go. That's good choice of words. Good choice of words. Patrick, thanks for hanging out with me and coming on. You got anything you want to talk about right quick before we get started? Anything going on
I
or?
just think it's awesome to be here. I just kind of envision, even though I'm in Vermont and you're in Tennessee, I just kind of envision that we're sitting in the garage together in a couple
Yeah.
of, lawn chairs, talking music with some iced tea.
There you go. There you go. The Southern way, right? The
Yeah,
iced.
some sweet tea.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It has to be sweet down here. So, and actually, we're getting a break from the weather. It's actually like in the low 80s here today. So it's pretty nice. So, it's a little cloudy, a little breezy. So it's not 110 right now. So that's a good thing. So,
That's a great thing. Yeah.
yeah. So, Patrick, I'm just going to throw it out there. So, when was the first time that you heard about Diamond Dave with, I don't even like using that word, Diamond Dave, when David Lee Roth quit Van Halen and Sammy Hagar was on board?
So I got into music in general in 1987. I was in the third grade.
Wow. Okay.
I know, right? I'm a youngin, even though I'm
You're a
40.
young guy.
I'm a baby. But I first got into music, and I remember kind of MTV was kind of like this channel went in my house where it was like, don't watch it. And so I watched it when my parents weren't around.
You're right.
And I really, I remember things like Europe's The Final Countdown was huge, but not that song. I got into like when I first started watching it was like Cherokee was big and like Carrie, that song was big, and White Lion and Poison's first record and all these things. Well, I remember Jump would be on, even
Yeah.
though it wasn't new, it would still show up on MTV. But then I would also see the video for Best of Both Worlds.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, wait a minute, which one's Van Halen?
Yeah.
And I guess that's still a question today, right?
Yeah.
Is which one's Van Halen?
Yeah.
So I kind of understood that there were two singers, and I understood that Sammy Hagar was kind of the now singer, but I did not get into Van Halen until 1988. And I was in the sixth grade and I was home sick. And I had like the stomach flu, so I couldn't focus on anything without getting sick. And my mom brought this big Walkman into the bedroom, was like, here's a box of tapes. You can listen to these. And in there was 5150. And she had bought it for Why Can't This Be Love?
Yeah.
I'd never heard any of it before, and I put it in because I knew the name.
Yeah.
And that was the very first time I truly listened to Van Halen.
Wow. Well, I'm going to be upfront and honest with you too. I'm not that much older than you, so I would have been in the eighth grade. So obviously, we're probably 5 years different. So around
Thank you.
there you go. So around 86, of course, I had around 83, 84, of course. I always seen Hot for Teacher and all these videos on what used to be called, I think it's like Friday night videos or
Oh,
something
on NBC, yeah.
on NBC. You would see that. And we had just got cable. And so I was started on the MTV thing too. But I was not a huge Van Halen fan. I was just, I'd heard Hot for Teacher and the 84 stuff, but I didn't really know, the masterpieces or the iconic pre, you know,
Right.
from Van Halen 1 to whatever it was, Diver Down, or yeah, I guess it was Diver Down
Yeah.
before. But so I didn't go down that road until much later. And I also remember the first time I heard 5150 when it come out. I heard, Why Can't This Be Love? And thought it was a fantastic song, but it was still in like 86. So I had not really got real into music at that time. So
Yeah.
yeah, I did not. And I'm sort of like you. I was not a real big Van Halen fan until probably, I'm going to say, Foreign Lawful Carnal Knowledge. A good friend of mine, and you guys have heard me talk about a lot. Chuck introduced me to Van Halen, and far as David Lee Roth, Van Halen, and then I started getting into the Sammy stuff, and when Foreign Lawful come out, I'd heard, of course, I seen the videos. No, it's not bad, but I never did go and buy the record.
Sure.
And
So you figure that period of time is really the big hair metal period of time is what,
yeah,
86 to 91.
yeah,
And in that period, you really only had OU 812,
yeah, yeah,
which was not a good record,
and then
at least in my opinion. So
yeah, they're probably my all-time favorite songs on that record, but uh, and as a whole, yeah, I mean,
it's not their strongest effort.
yeah, and at that time, like you said, I guess probably the reasons I wasn't because it was pretty heavily keyboard as far as the singles. Why can't this be love? And was that what it was? Was why? Yeah, I think it was that the
Why
first.
Can't This Be Love was the first single.
Yeah,
5150.
yeah, and then finish what you started, and so it wasn't really like I said at that time. I was more into the hair band, the more heavy guitarish riffs, and this
Right.
wasn't it. But so yeah, I remember when it happened, but I don't, wasn't a huge fan until probably Foreign Lawful Carnal Knowledge, and then when Chuck brought me that one, and I heard, Pound Cake, I was just like, oh, hold on.
Yeah, it was a whole new ball game with Pound Cake. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, but going back, hindsight's 2020. This is a fantastic record.
Oh, it's my favorite Van Halen record. Yeah.
I'm yeah, I'm I flip coins sometimes, but a lot of times it ends up on this one.
It's pretty interesting who the producer of that record is.
Absolutely.
Foreigner's Mick Jones.
Never even thought it. I mean, never even until I done, research several years ago. And I was like, that name sounds familiar. Why does that name sound familiar? It's like, oh, wait a second. That's Foreigner,
Yeah, Mick Jones, a Foreigner. And, for 1986, it's the production is very of that time.
Yeah.
Obviously, my biggest complaint on it, which I don't really have that many, is I'd love for it to be remastered with real drums.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
real electronic drums is it just doesn't sound right.
Yeah.
But
Alex went down that Simmons drum pad road for a couple of records, and I'm just like you. I never was a fan of the electric drums.
yeah, but you heard those songs on like the Balance tour and stuff, and they had balls, and you were
Yeah.
like, okay, there it is.
Nerd. Yeah.
Like I would love to have heard the entire 5150 record with a real kit. That would
Yeah.
have been great,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's such a phenomenal record, and it's such a the aura around it for that time was so different because everybody loved Dave. Dave's gone.
Yeah.
They announced Sammy Hagar, and they go out on this press tour as the most confident, cocky, loudmouth band.
Yeah.
And you were hearing from the other men, from Eddie and Alex and Sammy, when you really never really heard from Eddie or Alex that much in the previous time.
Yeah.
And all they talked about was, oh, this is the greatest thing we've ever done.
Yeah.
Greatest thing we've ever done. This is Van Halen 2.0. That first Van Halen was just kind of a tester. This is Van Halen.
Yeah.
And they backed it up.
And yeah, that's what I was going to say. That's huge words for them to be saying, and people's never even heard it yet.
Oh, for sure.
And you're like, oh, are they setting themselves up for a major failure here?
We
And
did a top 40 Van Halen songs on Rock Resurgence Radio.
mhm,
And I think Jason Reed um, said something that was really profound. He said, when I heard, why can't this be love? I knew everything would be okay.
yeah,
And it's like, I'd never really thought about that before, but it's true. It's like you heard it and you went, oh, okay, we're good.
okay,
Like this will be all right.
yeah,
But like I said, for me, this was my first entrance into Van Halen. So I hadn't really, outside of Jump, I didn't know Van Halen all that well.
right,
So
yeah. I'm the same way. I mean, looking back on it now, and you can sort of tell from '84 to this that Eddie was getting more into the keyboards and you know,
very much so.
but I was watching a couple things this week. I knew me and you was going to do it, so I tried to start looking back. But there was, you know, live, which this record produced to me, one of the greatest live DVDs ever. Live without,
Yes, Live Without a Net. Absolutely.
and this is one of my favorite. I can put this in all the time, and it was fantastic. But by watching that, you noticed how much Sammy played guitar to
Yes.
complement when Eddie went to the keyboards.
Yeah, that and I almost think about the same they made the same statement that Motley Crue made when Karabi joined, which was the very first thing he did when he showed up to the audition is he plugged in a guitar and we went, "Whoa, what are you doing?"
Yeah, we've got the
And then
greatest guitar player ever.
yeah, but they did and the sound got thicker,
Yeah,
which was cool. Now, you can't say that so much about the 5150 record. I don't think it got thicker like there's dual guitar action, but I don't think probably I would dare to say that Sammy's guitar playing is probably not even on the record.
right.
I think most of the songs were probably already done when Sammy got in. You can tell that some of the songs on the record were probably written for Roth,
Yeah,
especially like, Good Enough or some of those, but
yeah,
uh, it's just such a fantastic record. Definitely the keyboards are up front,
yeah,
and that was something that was a real headache for Dave.
yeah,
But um, I can't think of a better way to say it, Jones, than it's Van Halen 2.0, and it's a rebirth because it's not Van Halen.
yeah. I,
It's not what Van Halen had been. And that's not
yeah,
a knock. It's just saying it's not what Van Halen was. It's
yep.
a new Van Halen.
It's sort of because everybody knows I much prefer Sammy Hagar over David Lee Roth.
Hmm.
Um, Not taking away from what that was, because it created an era of guitars, and there's the party band and this, that, and another. But I just think when Sammy come aboard, they was more of a, and I'd seen that, there was more. It always looked like Roth was the front man, and then you had a great band behind him.
Hmm.
Where when Sammy come aboard, it was like you had a four-piece band, and
Right.
everybody was equal. And because I even love Sammy's solo stuff. I actually knew probably more of Sammy's solo stuff at that age than I probably knew Van Halen stuff.
The winner takes it all.
No, well, of course that, yes, my man Stallone. And when I remember seeing that video when he done that video, when he done
Exactly.
that video, I was like, "Holy crap! There's Sammy Hagar and Stallone arm wrestling. This is fantastic."
Right, exactly. So this is a dream come true. So,
And I don't know if it's true or not. And like I said, I've done a little research, and you might know, but they said they recorded this album in 10 days. They practically done a track a day. I don't know if I buy that or not, but that's what
I
I
think
think.
that's where I say I think 90% of it was done, and all you had to do is the vocal takes. And you've been in the studio, so you know
Yeah.
how it works. It's once the music's done, laying down the vocal for an established singer is going to be a whole lot faster and easier than somebody who's never done it before.
Yeah. Yep.
And so I'm sure Sammy went in there, and we're talking prime Sammy Hagar, like
Yeah.
right in the thick of his prime.
Yeah.
He was a thoroughbred ready to go. So, I'm pretty confident that that 10 days is probably accurate.
Yeah. Yeah. And they said, and like I said, I was reading another thing that said uh, that actually Mick Jones said we need one more. We need one more, and it was Dreams. That was the
Which is wildly, I mean, it's wild to get a song like that for your last one.
yeah. That was the last one they had to done, and that actually come from when this got, when they put out that Van Halen 2.0 box set or whatever.
Yeah, that thing's cool.
Oh, it's so good. It is
Yeah.
so good, and so Sammy and Michael had the other side or the other half, excuse me, the other
Yeah.
half web Facebook or whatever, and they had put up a video, and that's what they had said that was the last song, and he kept singing higher and higher and higher, and Michael Anthony was like, I think he really wishes he hadn't done that now.
Yeah, because I'm sure it's incredibly hard to replicate.
Yeah, yeah,
Did you get
it's,
to see this tour?
I did, I did.
You
Um,
lucky son of a yeah.
yeah, I'm.
Who'd they play with?
It was them and oh, why am I wanted to say Foreigner, but it's not. Loverboy.
Oh, so that's probably was that Loverboy on the Wild Side tour? Or was that Loverboy pre-Wild?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I see that? No, I did not see this. I was thinking you meant this last Sammy and Michael doing the
Okay.
Van Halen thing. No, 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 no. I'd never seen Van Halen until Foreign Lawful Carnal Knowledge.
Oh, cool. Who'd they play with then?
Foreign Lawful Carnal Knowledge was. I'm gonna think. I think it was Alice in Chains.
Oh, yes, it was. I almost saw them on the Balance tour, and that would have been with Skid Row and Brother Kane. And
Well,
Skid Row
because
would have been on Subhuman Race, and Brother Kane would have been on their first record. And I didn't. It got rained out.
oh man, when I did see the Balance tour, but it was Brother Kane only. Skidder
Yeah.
was not on that show. I seen Right Here, Right Now. Vince Neil opened up for him.
Yeah, Vince played with them in Portland, Oregon when I was living there, and
Yeah,
everybody that went said that Vince Neil was fantastic.
yeah, yeah. So no, I never got. I mean, I did see Van Halen in their prime, and then I also seen when they reunited with Roth,
Yeah.
and that was. And I hate to say this, but it might have been the worst concert I've ever seen. It was.
Not a lot of people. I think let's put it this way. I think if you were a Roth diehard, the guy could poop on a plate and give it to you, and you'd be like, "Oh my God, I love it." You know, I I'm not going to sit here and say I don't like David Lee Roth because I love Van Halen
Yeah,
with David Lee Roth, but I've never thought his was
yeah,
really all that entertaining.
yeah,
And I love songs like A Little Ain't Enough,
yeah.
from
Oh yeah,
his solo career.
yeah,
But I never I felt like Sammy Hagar brought something really amazing to that band.
yeah.
I went and saw the Roth Hagar tour.
Oh, now see, I didn't see that one. I would like to have.
I saw that at the fairgrounds in Vermont in 2001. And or yeah, it was 2001 or 2002.
Yeah,
And Hagar went on first, and he was fantastic. He played a lot of this record, which was really cool. I mean, he had to, it had so many hits.
yeah,
And then Roth came out and was just very basic and, almost seemed like he was just doing what he was paid to do.
yeah,
He wasn't really, didn't seem all that into it. And then he left. And
yeah,
say what you want about him, but I've heard also that all those late Van Halen tours, he was just average.
yeah, yeah. That's you can't. I'm never going to take nothing away. Roth. It probably wasn't for David Lee Roth. There wouldn't be a Vince Neil, and probably wouldn't be a Brett Michaels, and
No, there wouldn't be any of it.
yeah, I get it, and I respect that, but yeah, as far as a band and Van Halen, and I don't know, I'm going to tilt my screen up. I mean, there's my
Oh yeah, there's your guys.
there's my guys. I'm just a Sammy. I'm a Van. I don't even like saying Van Hagar. I just, I'm Sammy with Sammy and Van Halen, and
Yeah. How did you get the record?
Oh my gosh.
How did 5150 fall in your lap?
5150 fell in my lap about in probably like I said, 88, 89. I tried to start filling up collections. I'm one of these kind of persons that if I like a band, I want everything, whether I like it or not.
Yeah, I am
And,
too.
okay, so that's pretty much I started going back after for unlawful carnal knowledge, which actually that was probably what, 89, 90?
For unlawful carnal knowledge, that's 91.
Was that 91?
Yeah.
Wow. So I probably started going back for at 91 and getting all the records. Of course I had heard all of the hits, or the singles or whatever.
Mhm.
But and even best of both worlds, dreams, love walks in, why can't this be love, 51? Yeah, but I had not heard one of my 5150.
Oh,
I remember when I got it and I was like, how in the, yeah, I was like, whoa, that's one of the best. I mean, it was just like, you
I
know,
don't know how to even, if somebody came up to you, Jones, and said, explain to me the song 5150 and why it's so good, I couldn't do it.
uh-uh.
It's just, it's not like any other song.
Yeah,
You've got this minute and a half long intro
yeah,
that I know a lot of people are like, oh, I hate instrumentals. It's a minute and a half of instrumental that doesn't feel like an instrumental.
yeah, yeah. It's just,
And it's got such a groove that you get sucked in, and then Hagar come. Oh my gosh,
yeah,
it's amazing.
that's, yeah. I mean, I had heard, even like, a lot of people says they don't really care for Inside. I actually thought that was awesome too. I mean,
Yeah.
to me, there's not I guess it just fell back in my, as getting all of the collection together in, 91 ish. Uh, but I had practically, I mean, just sort of sitting here looking over the track listings. I was like, there's not very much on here that I had not heard because they played everything off this record.
Oh yeah. And you get a song like, let's if we start right at the top with Good Enough.
Yeah.
You know, that sounds like it could have been written, beforehand. It
Yeah.
sounds like it could have been set up for Roth.
Yeah.
That and Inside probably could have been the only songs that I think, well, maybe Get Up, but
Yeah.
those three songs are the only songs I could ever imagine David Lee Roth even having a chance at singing.
Yeah. Yep. You're exactly right. Just looking at this, and I know the track listing on this vinyl is, I don't think the actual track listing, but because yeah, it starts off with best of both worlds.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah, that's not right.
yeah, yeah. So I'm sitting here looking, I'm like, wait a second, this is not even the track listings, but I'd heard all of this, especially through Live Without a Net. And the reason I guess I fell in love with it so much was my buddy Chuck, once again. He had this, in the late 80s, early 90s, he had this massive stereo, and he was one of the first persons to get one of those big monster box projection screens.
Yeah.
And he had a hi-fi VHS that was hooked to his stereo. And of course, he's a huge Van Halen guy. And he had that VHS tape of this.
Yeah.
And on Friday nights, we would just go over there and he had the big screen, and it was just amazing, as a
My
first.
neighbors had a similar thing. They had a boat that sat in their driveway
Yeah.
with no cover on it. And in the summertime, we would sit out there all day long while all our parents were at work, and we would turn on the stereo to that boat and make mixtapes. And I used to just put this whole 5150 thing on a tape and pop it in there and play it. And it would just play, it would flip on its own.
Yeah.
We play this all day
Just,
until the boat battery died, and then we got in trouble. I don't think his dad liked that very much, but
yeah. Yeah.
especially when they were going out on the lake in Oregon. But
Yeah. Because usually boats have a pretty dang good sound system. They got to be loud
yeah,
to get up, you're outside. So, yeah, I could see
the
that.
neighbors all got to hear 5150 all summer long. So great record though, and there's so much history with it, and to me, just so much mystique around it because finding this record after it had come out, you and I are not able to sit here and say, "Well, my gosh, he proved Roth wrong, or they
Yeah.
proved, whatnot," because we didn't know any different.
Yeah.
But looking back on it and how you worked backwards and I worked backwards, I didn't get into the Roth stuff until the early 2000s.
Yeah.
It just didn't appeal to me at the
Yeah.
time. Now I love it.
Yeah.
Uh, It's an acquired taste, I think, and
Yeah.
and it's not the same band. That's why there's that appreciation for it. There's two Van Halens.
Yeah.
Serious Van Halen and not serious Van Halen. And for that matter, there's three because Van Halen 3, I don't look at that album and go, "Oh, bleh."
Yeah.
I look at it and I go, "It's just very different."
Yeah. It is different.
And and thank God we had Sharon for a few years because he played all of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he did a great job with all of it.
He did, and we actually we bought tickets to that show, me and Chuck, the day
Oh,
of
the Van Halen 3 tour?
yeah,
Okay.
the day of the show. Golly, I can't even remember who opened up for that tour. I cannot remember. Um, but we bought them the day of the show, and we bought them, and we was in the 10th row. I mean, it was very, very under. It didn't sell that,
No.
and but I was just sitting there because at that time I had done went backwards, and Sharon was playing all of this old Roth stuff, and I was like, wow, this.
Michael Anthony sang also on that tour. He sang Somebody Get Me a
Yeah,
Dime. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And that's, I want to maybe go down that hole just a little bit.
Sure.
To me, Michael Anthony, I think the brothers shafted him something awful. Um, I think Michael Anthony is unreplaceable in Van Halen. I've heard rumors. I don't know if it's true or not that Eddie played the bass on all the records. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. I don't
I
know.
think he played on some of them.
Okay, but you cannot. I mean, you take Michael Anthony's backgrounds and harmonies away from Van Halen, and it is a completely different band.
Van Halen from 2007 forward was not didn't sound right in my
Yeah, yeah,
and you know you they even had to pipe in Anthony's audio
yeah,
on those later Van Halen tours because I think so many people said it just doesn't sound right.
yeah, yeah. And the last time that we was going back earlier when I seen that Sammy and Michael done the tribute thing this past year, or what
Mhm.
it might have been 2 years ago now. I can't remember, but Michael even had to sing some of Sammy's parts. Sammy just can't get up there no more, and
Right.
he sounded great on the stuff where he didn't have to get up there. But Michael Anthony took over when he did. I think Michael Anthony actually sang. Best I remember, I think he even sung "Dreams."
Oh shit.
You know,
That's
maybe
crazy.
maybe Sammy sung the verses and Michael Anthony took over for the choruses and things like that. But yeah, it makes me so mad when I hear that they practically got him down to giving away all of his rights. And
Yeah, he signed over all his rights and everything just to do that last 2004 reunion with Sammy.
Sammy, yeah, that was that. I don't know. Every time I hear that, I think, and I love Eddie and Alex. I love Alex. I mean, Alex is a major drum inspiration to me, and I love listening to all that stuff. But I think they might have been very difficult to work with. And
I think you're right, and I think they allude to that, and that if your last name wasn't Van Halen, you really didn't matter to them.
yeah,
You were replaceable, and
yeah,
that was proven. You know,
yeah. And you and Guru done a great uh, video, and we won't rehash. If you guys want to go see that, check out the Guru and Patrick's video they done about Sammy and Alex and the beef. Uh, we might get into it later on. We might do a little Van Hagar series here. So we
I'm
might do,
down.
we might go we might go OU 812 next or something. Um, but yeah, it's just sad, and Sammy, I think even Sammy said if he had to do over again, he probably wouldn't have put some of that stuff in his book. You know,
Yeah.
um, you know, uh, Sammy seems like a good guy, but also Sammy's a multi millionaire, and he didn't get there from being stupid. And
He didn't get there from being stupid, and the man had platinum albums before he was even in Van Halen. So,
yeah, yeah,
but isn't it interesting too, Jones? Van Halen had no number one albums until Sammy Hagar.
yeah. And you're exactly, that's right. And you probably know. I don't, but I know they said that what if they sold like hundreds of millions of records or whatever. But I'm just curious if the five is it five? One, two, three, four, five, or is it four? I'm getting confused here. 5150 OUA 12 foreign law knowledge and balance. I
Yeah.
guess, and then if you throw in the live record or whatever, but I bet those 4 or 5 albums have sold just as much as all of the other. Well, maybe
Well, no, because you have two diamond albums from Van Halen.
yeah, you got what Van Halen won in '84.
Yeah, both went diamond.
Yeah,
And I
so
think the highest selling Hagar record is probably 4 million, three
for me,
million.
okay, my bad. Yeah, that was a stupid thing for me to even talk about. But I do know, like you said, every Van Halen album uh Sammy, every one of them went to number one, right?
Yep.
And
And I think the Sammy hits were higher charting than the Roth hits. However, the Roth hit, the albums sold more.
yeah,
And you know, whatever reason that is, you could make the argument that Sammy Hagar era Van Halen was more pop driven and more aimed at a larger audience. I mean, this is the first record that has a ballad on it,
yeah,
which
yeah,
that ballad is phenomenal.
yeah.
And then, OU 812 has When It's Love, and Fuck has what's the ballad off of that?
Let me think. Right now,
Yeah, right now, which is one of their probably biggest songs. And then
yep.
you've got Balance, and that's got Can't Stop Loving You, and
Yeah, and
uh,
what was the other one? The bum 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 bum.
Feeling.
It's got feeling, but there's one more. I love it. And it don't come easily. I'm
Oh, I know what
singer.
you're talking about. Yeah. Well, I couldn't tell you.
Live here. Let me. It will just take me. Let me get on my uh balance. Why do I cannot? Not enough.
Not enough.
Yeah,
Yes. Great song.
yeah. That was so. That when that come out, I mean, that's still this day my ringtone is "Don't Tell Me What Love Can Do." I mean,
Oh, probably the heaviest Van Halen song ever.
yeah, it was so just for the longest time. Balance was my favorite record of Van Halen.
Really?
I
Wow.
just, I just, I don't know. I went mad. I mean, For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge, I really dug in, but when Balance come out, I just went full. I mean, there was nobody better than Van Halen at that time for me.
I remember getting that record right off the opening day that it came out, and wow. And then off of Balance, you got the Humans Being off Twister, which that is my favorite Van Halen song.
Yeah,
It's Humans Being. People laugh at me when I say that. I'm like, fuck off, because that song is
yeah,
just killer.
absolutely.
If that was the direction that they were headed, holy cow.
Yeah,
Now, the songs that were on that greatest hit, The Best of Both Worlds, there you had Learning to See and Up for Breakfast.
yeah.
I wasn't huge on those. Up for Breakfast was all right, but I just, something happened to Van Halen after uh, Balance to where writing new music, although Me Wise Magic was phenomenal,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
something happened to the new music aspect for Van Halen that it was like they went through some period where they had a really hard time writing a melodic good song.
It is almost yeah. It was almost like those two new songs. They almost sounded the same. The same,
Yeah.
Eddie sort of had the same sound, the same little guitar parts, and it's like almost like he started that with Humans Being. But I'm just like you. I'm not saying that Humans Being is definitely up in my top. It's definitely in my top five. I'm just like you. That song's amazing. But some of those parts that he used in Humans Being, he started using later, like you said,
Yes.
on those two new songs. And it was like you could tell they was, I don't know, they just got,
I was disappointed with the Best of Both Worlds compilation because, while it had, some the greatest hits you can't complain about because that's just you've already heard them, but
yeah,
I always buy those things for the new tracks, and it had been, only a few years, maybe 8 years prior that we'd had the Volume 1 greatest hits that
yeah,
had, the two Roth songs.
right.
And I thought, well, these are going to be, more up my alley. And I just kind of was like, wow, up for breakfast early in the morning. Like, this is not that creative.
Yeah,
And Learning to See was just boring.
yeah,
And I was like, wow, well, that wound up being the final Sammy output.
yeah.
But I will say, and I think you'll agree with this, my favorite Van Halen live record is actually the Sammy Hagar Live Hallelujah record. I
That
love
is
that
good.
record. I think the version of Dreams that he sings on that record is the best live performance I've ever heard of that song.
Yeah,
The live version of When It's Love where he has Gary Sharon come out on it is
yeah.
phenomenal. I
I'm glad you
I don't
mentioned
love
that.
the Van Halen live records, but
God, I have not heard that in forever. I'm gonna make sure it's on my playlist.
oh, how Live Hallelujah?
Yeah,
Oh,
I had forgot all about that until you just said that, and it's been years since I've heard it. So that'll be a
great
good,
record.
refreshing to listen to again.
Yeah.
And
Well, and I also, when he got booted and he was the first one to come out with music. Well, actually that's true because he got booted. The Van Halen Greatest Hits came out. Those two songs come out with Roth, but they kind of got lost in the shuffle of
yeah,
Roth not being in the band.
yeah,
And then Sammy comes out with Marching to Mars.
yeah. Is that the one that had? Is that was his first Little White Lie? Is that it?
Yes. And that was the first single. And I thought that song kicked ass.
Me too.
And the live version on Live Hallelujah of that is so much heavier than the studio version that came out.
Damn,
And
man, I am going to put that on my. Where I will not forget. I've got to put that on there like right now.
because that song, what's so fantastic about Little White Lie is this, just this acoustic, chugging along, and then all of a sudden he just goes ba 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 ba, and it just boom kicks
That's
in, and you're like, fuck, like this is great.
yeah. If when I the very first time I heard it, I was like, was this going to kick in or not?
Yeah,
I
because you
like
go for a
it.
good minute and a half, two
Yeah,
minutes.
I was like, I like it, but is this going to kick in or not? And and it did.
Oh
It
yeah, and
was
it was
like,
awesome.
yeah, that was so good. And I'm not a Sammy Homer. He's done several things that it's okay. I mean,
Well, look at those post Van Halen solo records. You had Marching to Mars was very average,
yeah,
maybe three good songs on it, and maybe four. Mas Tequila, what's that record called?
Red Voodoo, is that
Yeah,
Red?
Red Voodoo, three or four good songs.
Yeah,
Although I think one of the best songs he's ever done in Van Halen or out of Van Halen is on that record, is that Tropic of Capricorn song. Holy shit. If
that
you've never
is
heard Tropic of Capricorn from Sammy Hagar, that is one of the most awesome songs that man has ever done.
that's yeah, that's really really good, really good. And I also liked. Oh my gosh, what was the one? I thought it was pretty refreshing. It had a few more songs on it I liked than some of the other ones. Um, I'm sitting here looking right quick. Um, Live It Up.
Yeah, great song.
I thought that was a pretty good record. I mean, it had some on it was not great, but it had some good stuff on it too. So
The
But
one thing his solo work misses though is Eddie.
yeah, it's like it needs that little something, right?
Right. It's
Yeah,
the guitar work always pales, and I feel bad because Vic Johnson was a good guitar player,
yeah,
and he's always, surrounded himself with quality musicians. But when we get back to the fruit of the matter, is that the beauty of Van Halen with Hagar is Hagar's voice with Michael Anthony, and then blended with that amazing melodic rock that Eddie Van Halen plays with a kick-ass that snare
yeah.
that only Alex,
Yeah,
you
the
knew Van
magical
Halen could
Ludwig
do that.
Black Beauty or whatever it
Yeah,
is, you know.
because all the songs you could identify were Alex right off the bat.
Yeah, yeah. It's like there's Alec. Yep. And yeah, it was just so. I when Hagar left Van Halen, probably hit me harder than any band breakup ever. And I mean, I'm a huge crew head, but Vince leaving didn't hit me as bad as when Sammy left, because actually when Robbie come, I like him better. But
Me too.
but and that's not taken away from Vince, and you know, I just it just I don't know. I guess because I had got into them so much, everything revolved around Van Halen at in that time frame of the early '90s, and yeah, that was a crusher for me. And me,
It kind of just came out of nowhere.
yeah,
You could always tell with, well, Motley kind of came out of nowhere, but Poison, you knew there was problems.
yeah,
Warrant was kind of a surprise, but grunge had hit.
yeah,
Van Halen was so big that they still had a number one album in the height of grunge and the height of alternative, and
yeah,
they were still all over the place. They had their own MTV special
yeah.
for the Balance release. So, I mean, they were kind of immune to all of it. And then out of nowhere, I remember, my buddy and I were driving down the road, and they were 101 KUFO in Portland, Oregon would play the Humans Being all the frickin' time. And it was on the radio one time, and we're driving home from Taco Bell. And because that was our Monday night, when I was in high school and in my senior year, we would go on Monday night to Taco Bell and get a shit ton of food
Yeah,
and head back to his house and watch wrestling,
there you
which it was just our Monday night thing in high school. I don't do
go.
that anymore, but
Yeah,
I haven't in 30 years, but
yeah, right.
that was our thing. And we're driving back with the food, and the Humans Being was on, and we're like cranking it and just loving it. And then the guy comes on and goes, such sad news today about how Sammy Hagar has been fired from Van Halen, and nobody knows what's happening, and just being like, "What?"
Well, yeah, yeah. I was, yeah,
I mean, because it was within months of the Twister soundtrack coming out,
yeah,
so you had no clue.
yeah. I was, yeah. I remember. I think I seen it. I think it was Kurt Loder on MTV.
Yeah,
Breaking news or whatever it was. And then they marched, Dave out on that video awards show, and he was out
oh
there
man,
doing all this stuff, and I was sitting there going, "This is a train wreck. This is going to
yeah,
be."
you just knew it wasn't going to work, and you could also tell that Eddie was a mess. I mean, that interview he did during the with Alex during the Three promotion where they're sitting there and he's just going, "It's not fair to Beck. That wasn't fair to Beck."
Yeah,
And he better be wearing a cup.
yeah, yeah,
That garbage. It was, that was the decline of Van Halen, and I don't think Van Halen was ever Van Halen after that.
yeah, yep,
But boy, for our years, I mean, it's interesting to me how you and I, and probably thousands of other people, the way we found Van Halen parallels.
yeah,
We were not there for the rise of the Roth era, where they're playing the US Festival and all this.
yeah,
We were more there for the mom's version of Van Halen, if you will.
yeah,
Which I'm fine. That doesn't bother me.
yeah,
I care less if you don't like Love Walks In. I fucking do.
yeah,
So,
exactly.
we got that version of Van Halen, and when I was in sixth grade, and I got I was sick as a dog, and my mom gave me that tape. I'll never forget laying in that bed being so nauseous, and listening to that record and being like, oh wow, Love Walks In, just hearing that
Yeah.
and being like, what is that sound? Like, I didn't know a guitar could do that.
Yeah.
And then you'd hear Love Walks In and you're just like, wow, this is beautiful.
Yeah.
But then you get your ass kicked by 5150 being so like, man, this is so insanely good. And I remember taking the tape when I was better and going back to school and being like, you all have to listen to this. And they'd be like, Vanilla Ice,
Yeah. Right. Right. Right.
MC Hammer. And I'd be
Yeah.
like, okay, but this is
Okay.
awesome too.
Yeah.
And 5150 has such a place in my heart because it we're nostalgic for the things that made us happiest in life. And when life was, free of problems and free of the grind that we live every day now.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there was controversy in the world, but we were immune to it because we were just kids.
We was kids.
And that picture right behind you of the 5150 record,
Yeah.
I every time I see it, I smile in
Yeah.
life because anytime I see that logo anywhere,
Yeah.
I smile because I go, man, you can't put that record on and not be happy. When we
Yeah.
did the War episode a
Yeah.
little bit ago, first thing when you were saying you had a barbecue to go to, the first thing I thought is, well, somebody better bring the Van Halen
That's right. That's
because
exactly right.
whether it's Hagar or Roth, it's happy and it's
Yeah.
good. You don't put on Van Halen and feel sad.
Yeah. Well, I've got some really good friends of mine that are not into music like we are. They enjoy music, but they're not, so passionate about it that their favorite record is this record.
Oh, 5150? Yeah.
5150. Yeah. I've got a really good friend of mine that his favorite record is 5150 and probably Chicago 17.
Oh, that's a great record.
Yeah, I mean
Wow, that's a great record.
he's a huge Chicago fan. Because back when he used to like that when I was a kid, of course I was the hair metal. I was like, "What are you listening to that garbage for?" But now you listen to it,
Before I
it's like, "Oh,
forget,
it's awesome."
there is a band, and you can cut this out of the video if you want.
Oh
I
no,
don't
no,
care.
it's
You
all
can
good.
leave it in. There's a band everybody should check out that has the second singer in Chicago in it. I forget his name, but it's called Generation Radio, and the
Generation.
band is insanely good. It's Dean Castronovo, the drummer from Journey. The second guy, the young kid that replaced Peter Cetera, what's his name?
Cetera. Yeah, that's I know. Yeah,
God,
but
I
it
can't remember his
was
name.
not was Peter Cetera the original singer? I was thinking,
Yeah,
was
he's
he?
the one that sang "Will You Still Love Me for the Rest of that
Yeah.
song?" That
Yes.
that guy is the singer. And then I hate country music, so I will never sit here and say it's good. But the other guy that they got in there is from Rascal Flatts,
Really?
and then Tom Petty's bass player. And they are phenomenal. And they
Okay.
have this great record that's called Generation Radio. And all of them take lead at some point in there
Yeah.
because they're all just crazy talented. But my God, I'm trying to remember what the first single was called on that because it is just, I couldn't believe it when I heard it. I thought we had gone back in time.
Yeah.
It was, what is it? I got it
Yeah.
right
I've
here.
written it down.
Song was called, Oh, Why Are You Calling Me Now? If
Just,
everybody who's watching this has probably listened to Van Halen 5150. So don't get me wrong, it's great. But also check that out
yeah.
because it came
Absolutely.
out like 2 years ago and it is
Yeah.
just unreal. And like I said, I can't stand country music, but the Rascal Flatts dude doing rock songs,
Yeah.
great. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll check it out. I will definitely check it out. That's what I love about talking to you and listening to all you guys' podcast and other people's podcast is just learning new stuff. There's new stuff out there,
The
and
beauty of, like I said, the beauty of what's happening in on YouTube and I don't attribute one show to any other show as doing it more. Everybody's doing it because it's a community.
yeah,
Whether it's Crash Course Metal Show, whether it's Brian in the basement,
yep,
Hairman basement, Guru and I, Guru, uh, Jason Reed, any of the guests, Ryan, Mariah, all those people on that show, it's one community and all it wants to do is talk about this music. And what
Yeah.
I love about your show is that I feel like I'm walking through your neighborhood and I'm hearing 5150 in your garage while you're doing something. And I come up and for the next hour and a half, we sit and talk
That's
about
it.
music.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's why no other genre has that.
Yeah. And that's one thing like with this podcast is I am not I do it for the love of and just the fun. I don't care if I get, I mean, I hope I do. I hope I get a lot of subscribers, and I think I've already got several thanks to you guys. But I just love to do it. I'm not in competition of like, oh, these guys has done that, so I need to do this. No, I just love watching theirs, and I might get an idea and think, oh, because I one thing going off topic, the couple that you've done here lately, the Saigon Kick, the Shotgun Messiah, those picks that you guys are doing here lately is
Oh, the pick of the week? Yeah.
Shotgun Messiah's Second Coming is one of my all-time favorites. I say that about everything. Jason always says everything's your all-time favorite. I love I love Shotgun Messiah's Second Coming.
Yeah. I'm excited about where all of this content that's being created by everybody is going.
Yeah.
And every single day we turn on, I turn it on and I look and I see, oh, you've got something. The one you put up yesterday with your friend there, that was great. And and if Guru and I haven't posted something or Guru and anybody else hasn't posted something, I look around to all the other subscribers and
Yeah.
it's a lot of fun to hear about everything because for the last 25 years, nobody's talking about it.
Yeah.
And so we're finally getting people out there to talk about the things that we have been most passionate about in our lives.
Yeah.
And I love that. I loved seeing your Enough's Enough Strength video because nobody talks about that record, and it's
Yeah.
such an incredible record.
Yeah.
And I love, you could probably find lots of people talking about Van Halen, but hearing it from the perspective of people that share the same musical interests as me, we all have a very different take on it. And I love hearing the story of how did you get it? How did you get it? What did you think the first time you
Yeah.
got it? What
Yeah.
did you think of, Love Walks In? Did you think, what the hell is Van Halen doing? Or did you think it was incredible? And,
Yeah.
you know, one of those records was the Saigon Kick Water record because my buddy Matt, I got that out of a dollar bin and I looked at him, I was like, you ever heard this? And he was like, get it. It's awesome. And then I got it and I was like, wow, I've never heard anything like this, but I love it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you'd play it for people and they'd be like, what is that?
Yeah.
But then, and I never understood why it was lumped in with hair metal because it
Yeah.
doesn't sound anything like hair metal, but it's
Right.
incredible. But then again, I'm a diehard Faith No More fan. I
Yeah.
love everything Faith No More has ever done.
And it's like I said, it's different. It's just,
Yeah.
and it's makes things appealing. And
Yeah.
you
That's what's exciting about your channel. That's what's exciting about everybody's channel is that new content all the time. And it's always about things that you've heard, but it's a different perspective.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And I love hearing all of them. Love hearing
Yeah.
all of them. So that's fantastic. So I know we went, uh, around the world and that's what I like about it. This was about 5150, but we've went around the world also. So it's all good, and I love that.
We'll just call it a conversation about Van Halen and music.
There you go. There you go. I love it, and maybe
We should do it. We should do it a lot because we have a lot to talk about.
we do, and we have a lot in common. I think we like a lot of the same stuff, and I like it when you and Anthony disagree.
Yeah.
Like on
Subhuman Race.
the Skid Row. Yeah. Now, I, I'm not going to say Subhuman Race. I know you love it. I think it's got its moments and it's got some very good moments. But to me, but that's what's beautiful about it. And it's, like I said,
Music is subjective and it's never black and white.
Generation Swine's my favorite. Kidding.
Yeah, all the subscribers just unsubscribe.
Yeah, but there's like, screw this fat guy.
But yeah, dude, we should totally keep doing this because
Absolutely, my friend. We'll get together this week and you know, try to come up with what we want to do next. If something pops up and you want to do it, or if something comes to my mind. Also, like I said, Hawksy, my brother Hawksy, he wants to jump in on some of these too.
do it. More the merrier,
absolutely, right? Absolutely. So, Patrick, my brother, thank you so much for your time. I know you're super busy and you've always got super things to do, but I truly appreciate it, my brother, for hanging out with me.
Absolutely. I love your channel and I love the conversations that you have. And I put something on X today about trying to tell more people that, you know what, this is such a unique and fun channel because the conversations is what makes it great. And that, I'm somebody, it's the reason I also love like the Joe Rogan podcast because the conversations he has with people are what's interesting. It doesn't always have to be about what the topic is. It's a great conversation. And this happens to be about the music that we love. And I think you're doing a great thing on your channel here.
Thank you, my brother. That means a lot to me. It really, really does. And thank you guys for tuning in and watching us. So keep your eyes and ears out. We're going to do some more of these. And thank you once again. And Patrick, we will see you next time, my brother.
Love you, man. Be well.
Love you too. Appreciate it.